Welcome to AC 24/7. I'm Aaron Dean. 3 years after George Floyd was murdered by then Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin, the Justice Department issued a blistering report of the city's police department. The findings detail what the DOJ calls a pattern of violating rights and racial discrimination. It found that officers practiced excessive and unlawful use of force and violated the rights of people engaged in constitutionally protected speech. The report also details a lack of accountability for officers. The civil rights probe lasted 2 years and concluded that the systematic problems in the Minneapolis police force made what happened to George Floyd possible.
MPD officers discharge firearms at people without assessing whether the person presents any threat, let alone a threat that would justify deadly force. We also found that MPD officers routinely disregard the safety of people in their custody. Our review found numerous incidents in which MPD officers responded to a person's statement that they could not breathe with the version of, "You can breathe, you're talking right now." We also found that MPD officers failed to intervene to prevent unreasonable use of force by other officers.
Police also patrolled neighborhoods differently based on their racial composition and discriminated based on race when searching, handcuffing, or using force during traffic stops. As a result, the city agreed to a federal consent decree, which will require reforms overseen by an independent monitor and approved by a federal judge. Similar agreements have been made for Seattle, New Orleans, Baltimore, and Ferguson. Student loan forgiveness, LGBTQ rights, and affirmative action, those are just some of the major issues awaiting decisions this term from the U.S. Supreme Court. The justices have a self-imposed deadline of early July to issue opinions on those cases, potentially affecting the lives of millions of Americans. The Advocate Channel's Mike Valerio takes us through what you need to know as the 6-3 conservative court could be posed to set new precedents.
The decisions could be consequential for students, schools, and businesses nationwide. Among the issues set to be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court, whether people like Cody Hunanian can have thousands of dollars in federal student loans forgiven thanks to a Biden administration program now on hold as it's challenged by several Republican-led states.
All of a sudden, kind of right in front of me again, because I'm thinking about the kind of debt I have and I need to finance my future and get a home.
Opponents say the Department of Education doesn't have the authority to forgive the loans. Observers also point out
it's going to be a burden on current taxpayers.
In a challenge to LGBTQ rights, graphic designer Lori Smith from Colorado creates wedding websites, but she doesn't want to work with gay couples, citing religious objections to same-sex marriage.
Colorado is trying to force me to create custom, unique artwork to promote ideas inconsistent with my faith and the core of who I am.
There's a critical principle in this case. You can't define your service so you exclude an entire category of people.
Then there are two cases that could shape whether affirmative action remains in higher education.
So the Supreme Court is looking at whether or not public universities can use race as a factor in admissions, and that case comes from the University of North Carolina, looking at the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. They're also looking at whether or not private colleges can use race as a factor in admissions. That case comes from Harvard, and the analysis is under the Civil Rights Act.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Another candidate from Florida has entered the presidential race. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez has officially launched his 2024 presidential campaign. The Republican announced his candidacy in a video this week. He gave his first speech as a candidate at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in California.
And like Ronald Reagan, it's time for a leader who believes in America's greatest power. Americans who stare into the infinity of possibilities and helped every American find their purpose by helping them each make a dent in the universe. And that is why just yesterday, I filed paperwork to run for President of the United States of America.
Suarez is the first major Hispanic candidate to enter the Republican race. He starts off as an underdog in the primary, standing in the shadows of two fellow Floridians who have already entered the race. Of course, those are former President Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis. The Energy Department is among a group of federal agencies hit in a global cyber attack. That same breach compromised millions of people's personal information in Oregon and Louisiana. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency says that it is helping affected agencies with intrusions impacting their operations. It's not known exactly which other agencies have been affected. It is also not known if a Russian group that has taken credit for recent ransom attacks is behind this hack. The CISA says that the newest hacks shouldn't cause significant impacts due to defense improvements the government has implemented. Well, here's a little bit of a switch of gears right now. So, a sheriff's deputy in Florida now has a special bond with a newborn because on April 30th, he went behind the call of duty and delivered a baby on the side of the highway. Check this out.
How far along are you pregnant?
In answering the call of duty, law enforcement officers face life and death emergencies.
Just keep breathing, okay? I'm not going to move you. I'm not going to do nothing because you look like you're comfortable right now.
On April 30th, one Florida deputy braved those high-stakes extremes on a single shift.
Whether it's catching a baby or stopping a bad guy, it's what we get paid to do.
Adrenaline pumping and his weapon drawn, Deputy Red Jones, a 22-year veteran of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, was responding to a road rage call.
I had that one guy at gunpoint to get him out of his vehicle until we got that situation taken care of.
But moments later,
I seen a black little SUV pull up behind my truck, and the driver got out. You can see the panic in his face, so I started making my way towards him. He had met me about halfway across, and he's like, "You need to escort me to the hospital." I told him, I said, "We don't do that. That's only in the movies." He said, "Well, my wife's having a baby."
I just got out of the car and I screamed, "Can I get help?"
The expectant mother, Lexela, was in labor agony.
She's pushing.
They rushed to the hospital, but the baby was coming too fast.
I knew we weren't going to make it nowhere near to Brandon or neither of the hospital around us.
Yeah, not even Plant City.
Yeah, we weren't even going to make it to neither of them. I already felt her pushing down.
She's ready to go. Okay, all right, look at me. Look at me. Breathe through, all right, Mama? Breathe through, okay? You had your water broke?
Yes.
You have to let me know if the baby's coming, okay?
And right there, on the side of Florida Highway 60, Deputy Jones helped welcome Lexela Luis Lopez.
She's coming. We're gonna have to take her to the back.
There we go. I got a baby. Don't pull. I got her. Okay. There you go, Mama.
4 pounds, 11 ounces, and 18 inches. She's the couple's first child together.
There ain't no training for us for birthing babies.
But if there were, Deputy Jones would make a fine instructor.
This is my third little one since I've been here at the sheriff's office.
During a Mother's Day party at the sheriff's office, the four reconnected.
We got a little basket. She's wearing one of her onesies that he gave her. It says Little Red.
We call her Little Red, and I think we made a Instagram page. One more thing.
And after all they've been through together, Luis and Lexela had one more favor to ask of Red.
Since you deliver her, right? How will you feel being her godfather?
Very good. That'd make me very happy. So make me very happy. Thank you, Bubba.
An unlikely bond between a deputy and a family that began on the side of a road, now destined to last a lifetime. Isabel Rosales, CNN.
And thanks for joining us for AC 24/7. For more, go to theadvocatechannel.com and subscribe on the Advocate Channel YouTube page. For AC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean.